Welcome, and thanks for joining us. We're excited to help you ensure that your next trip is as smooth and stress-free as possible. Traveling is supposed to be fun and exciting, but the last thing you want is to get stuck at security because of a packing mistake. Imagine arriving at your destination, ready to enjoy your vacation, only to find yourself delayed due to something you accidentally packed in your checked luggage. In 2025, even a small packing error can turn your dream getaway into an expensive nightmare, filled with added costs, delays, and unnecessary stress. That's why we're here to share some helpful packing tips to prevent travel mishaps and make sure your vacation goes smoothly. Let's start with one of the most important tips: dangerous solvents and chemicals. You might not realize it, but many common household cleaning products like bleach, ammonia-based cleaners, and strong solvents are strictly prohibited in your checked luggage. The reason for this is simple. These items can become dangerous when exposed to the varying temperatures and air pressure in the cargo hold. Even if they're tightly sealed, there's still a risk that they could leak or react with other items. Worst case, they might even cause a fire. We know it's tempting to pack your favorite cleaning products for convenience, but for your safety and the safety of others, it's best to leave them at home. Instead, look for travel-sized cleaning supplies that are safe for flying. If you absolutely must bring something for cleaning purposes, be sure to check your airline's guidelines, or, even better, pack it in your carry-on where you can keep it secure. This simple step not only keeps you safe, but also avoids delays at security and potential fines. Now, let's talk about something a lot of people overlook: non-toiletry aerosols and combustible liquids. Many travelers are unaware of the strict rules around flammable materials in checked baggage. Items like gasoline, lighter fluid, and certain paints fall under this category and are strictly forbidden because they pose serious fire risks. Even if these products are in sealed containers, they can still catch fire when exposed to high temperatures or sparks. The same goes for non-toiletry aerosols, such as paint or industrial cleaners. While it's okay to pack personal care items like hairspray or deodorant in small amounts, anything that isn't related to personal hygiene is considered dangerous. Remember, these rules are there to protect everyone on board. So if you're planning on bringing flammable materials, look for solid or TSA-approved versions that are safe to fly with. It might feel inconvenient to leave certain items behind, but trust us, it's much better than dealing with a potential safety hazard or facing hefty penalties later on. And finally, we come to an important piece of advice for anyone traveling with valuables. Never pack expensive electronics or valuables in your checked luggage. This might seem like common sense, but you'd be surprised how many people overlook this tip. Things like laptops, tablets, cameras, and headphones should always stay with you in your carry-on bag. Checked baggage can be tossed around, and your delicate electronics might end up damaged or, worse, lost. Even though most baggage handlers are trustworthy, theft can still happen. Electronics are a prime target for theft in checked luggage, so keeping your expensive gadgets with you is the best way to avoid the risk. If you absolutely must pack something in your checked bag, consider using a tracking device like an AirTag and packing your items in a durable protective case. However, the safest option is to take your valuables with you in your carry-on, so you can keep an eye on them at all times. This will not only reduce the risk of theft and damage, but also give you easy access to your electronics if you need them during the flight. Next, let's dive into the issue of medication and prescription drugs. While you might think it's safe to throw your medication in your checked luggage, it's always a good idea to keep it in your carry-on. Certain medications, especially those that require specific temperature storage, can be damaged or become ineffective if exposed to extreme temperatures in the cargo hold. This is particularly true for insulin or other temperature-sensitive prescriptions. Additionally, packing your medication in your carry-on ensures that you'll always have it on hand in case you need it during your flight. Be sure to carry a doctor's note or prescription, especially if you're bringing controlled substances or a significant amount of medication with you, as airport security may ask for verification. Another item you should avoid putting in your checked luggage is jewelry. It's always tempting to pack your favorite pieces in your suitcase, but jewelry is a prime target for theft, and it's often not covered by travel insurance if it's stolen. Whether it's a special necklace, a ring, or expensive watches, it's best to keep them in your carry-on so you can keep a close eye on them. Besides, you never know when you might need to put on a nice piece for a special occasion during your trip, and it's far better to have your jewelry with you rather than risk losing it in the hold of the plane. For added security, use a travel jewelry organizer to keep your pieces safe and tangle-free. Finally, be cautious when packing sharp objects. While most people are aware of the strict rules regarding knives and other dangerous tools in carry-on luggage, many forget that certain items can also be dangerous when packed in checked baggage. Scissors, razor blades, and other sharp objects can cause injury to baggage handlers or even damage your other belongings. Always pack these items securely in a way that prevents them from shifting and causing harm. If you absolutely must bring sharp items, make sure they are well protected in a sturdy case or box, and check the specific rules of the airline to ensure you're complying with regulations. When preparing for a trip, it's essential to consider the items you pack in your luggage, especially those placed in checked baggage. While it might be tempting to throw everything into your suitcase, certain things should never be packed away in checked luggage. Misplacing or mishandling these items could lead to significant inconvenience or even serious consequences, so it's crucial to keep them in your carry-on for safekeeping. Here's a detailed guide on what to avoid putting in your checked luggage. One of the most important things to keep with you at all times is your medical supplies and prescription medications. Health is paramount, and if your luggage gets lost or delayed, having access to your critical medication could be a lifesaver. Items like prescription drugs, insulin, EpiPens, and other essential medical supplies should never be placed in checked baggage. If something goes wrong with your luggage, you could find yourself in a difficult situation without the medicine you need. Additionally, some countries have very strict import regulations concerning prescription drugs. If your medications are found during a customs inspection, you could face legal consequences, or your medications might be seized. To avoid this, always keep your medications in their original packaging, along with a copy of your prescription. It's also a good idea to pack any over-the-counter medications you might need for common issues like headaches, allergies, or digestive problems. This small effort will ensure you're prepared for any health-related issues during your travels. Another essential item that should never go into checked luggage is your power banks and lithium batteries. While these items are critical for powering your devices, they can be a safety hazard when placed in the cargo hold of an aircraft. Improperly stored lithium batteries can overheat, short-circuit, or even catch fire. The confined and often turbulent environment in the cargo hold increases the chances of an unnoticed malfunction, which could put the entire aircraft at risk. For safety reasons, TSA and FAA regulations require that you keep any spare lithium batteries or power banks in your carry-on bag. Even if the battery is already inside a device, it's essential to ensure you're following the airline's specific rules regarding the size and number of batteries. To prevent short circuits, always place tape over the battery connections and store them in protective cases. This simple step will help ensure the safety of your devices and the flight. When it comes to food, packing perishable items in checked luggage is a risky move. Certain foods, especially fresh produce, dairy, or prepared meals, are likely to spoil due to temperature changes and the lack of refrigeration in the cargo hold. By the time you retrieve your luggage, these items may have gone bad, potentially leading to unpleasant odors and even foodborne illnesses. Additionally, liquids that aren't properly sealed can leak and damage your clothes and other belongings. If you absolutely must bring food with you, opt for non-perishable items like granola bars, dried fruits, or packaged nuts. If you're considering bringing liquids such as sauces or soups, make sure they are in sealed, spill-proof containers and verify that they meet TSA regulations. If you're traveling on a long trip, consider using a courier service that specializes in shipping perishable goods. This will help avoid any unpleasant surprises upon arrival. Fragile items like ceramics, glass souvenirs, or delicate mementos should always be packed in your carry-on, not in checked baggage. Checked luggage often gets tossed around during the loading and unloading process, which can lead to breakages, even if the items are wrapped in bubble wrap or clothing. If you're traveling with something valuable or fragile, keeping it with you ensures that you can monitor how it's handled. If the item is too large to fit in your carry-on, use a hard shell container and additional padding to keep it safe. Some travelers even go as far as buying specially designed foam inserts for fragile items. Remember, no souvenir is worth the pain of discovering it's been ruined by rough handling. Alcohol can also be tricky when packing for a trip, especially if you're bringing back duty-free bottles. High-proof alcohol, such as spirits with an alcohol content over 70%, is strictly prohibited in both checked and carry-on baggage. For alcohol with an ABV between 24% and 70%, there are limits on how much you can bring, usually around 5 liters per person. These bottles must be in their original unopened packaging. If the bottles are not securely packed, they could break during handling, causing spills and damage to your other belongings. To avoid this, consider buying alcohol when you reach your destination or have it shipped separately through a specialized shipping service for fragile items. Always check with the airline and TSA about their specific policies on alcohol before packing it. Sharp objects are another category that should never be placed in checked luggage, especially anything that could be interpreted as a weapon. This includes knives, scissors, multi-tools, and even some recreational items with sharp edges. TSA regulations prohibit these items as they could pose a risk to the safety of passengers and crew. Even if you're carrying these items for outdoor activities, they could still be confiscated. If you absolutely must bring a sharp object, check the airline's policy to ensure it's allowed in checked luggage. It may be safer to pack it in your carry-on, or even send it via a specialized carrier. Always store sharp items in protective cases or wrap them securely in durable fabric to minimize the risk of injury or damage. Personal items like keys and important documents should never be placed in checked baggage. Losing your luggage can already be a stressful experience, but imagine if you also lost your house or car keys, or even your passport. If your luggage is delayed or lost, having these essential items with you in your carry-on will ensure you're not left stranded. Make sure to keep passports, vehicle keys, and house keys in a secure, easily accessible pocket of your carry-on bag. Additionally, consider keeping a backup copy of important documents, either physical or digital, in a separate location for peace of mind. There are also a few other items to avoid packing in checked baggage. Valuable jewelry, irreplaceable sentimental items, and fragile artifacts should always be kept close to you. If your baggage is mishandled, these items could be damaged or lost. Additionally, be cautious with liquids, especially those that aren't toiletries. If you're carrying large bottles of perfume or homemade sauces, they could leak and ruin your clothes and other belongings. And finally, think carefully about packing items that might be subject to changing import regulations in your destination country, such as animal products, cultural artifacts, or even drones that may require special permits. To conclude, there are several essential items you should never pack in checked baggage. Keeping things like medications, power banks, delicate objects, alcohol, sharp items, and important documents in your carry-on will ensure their safety and availability throughout your trip. Always check the most current TSA regulations before packing, as rules can change, and being well informed will help you avoid unnecessary stress at security checkpoints. By following these tips, you can avoid delays, penalties, and potential disasters. If you found these suggestions helpful, please give us a like and subscribe for more travel tips. And don't hesitate to share any additional tips you have in the comments below to help fellow travelers stay prepared. Safe travels!